Hey guys, DM Philosopher here, Matt's the name. Just going to go over my latest battle mat here. So we've got the latest in the Elven Town series of maps, and this is the Martial Academy. Let's jump in there and have a look at this map. We're zoomed in already. You can see that I'm using a 4K screen and downscaling it to 1080p. So the resolution that I'm seeing on this screen would, if you took a quarter of the screen, you would see that on a 1080p screen, and you'd see that there's plenty of detail. Even if you zoom in even further, you've definitely got the detail here for a close-in action, or for tactical action in your VTT software. Let's just zoom out again. So the actual map itself is very large. It's 85 by 45, give or take one or two. So it's about 400 by 200 feet. So definitely capable of containing a flowing encounter that utilizes a lot of space, or as you saw before, you can zoom up and just use a singular space within the wider map. So that way you can use another space at some other point. So this is the daytime gridded map. You can see that there's a variety of Elven buildings with a very large building right in the center. Let's have a look at the daytime gridless map, the nighttime gridded map, and the nighttime gridless map. You can see that the nighttime map really holds a certain atmosphere with the lights being shed from the buildings, and the shadows and darkness elsewhere. All of my packs come with point of view shots, so we can see the buildings from the point of views of the characters, and to establish a spatial understanding of the scene. So rather than just a two-dimensional map, you get these three-dimensional images that sort of show the layout of the scene. So that way you can give them as handouts to your players. Here's a view of the actual academy from the balcony of that two-story house. There's the steps up to the two-story place and the balcony up there, but it's overlooking the Martial Academy. Here's the Martial Academy. Here's the other side of the map, sort of coming in. We've got those two buildings on angles, and here's sort of a pen, whether it's got animals or whatever in there, or horses, and looking down on those two buildings as well, just so you get a sense of the layout there. And then we get the Martial Academy, and we'll come in tight here for the centre court. This centre court it would be where the training would be happening, and the fighters would be practicing against each other, or perhaps an Elven Lord. Or even if you don't want this for elves and you want to use it for some human type group, then they might have sort of a gladiatorial combat going on in there. And there's a bridge over top of that, so people could be up here looking down over the people training. And then we get two oblique angles, looking from the bottom and the top of the map, looking down at the map. We've got all of those point of view shots, exactly the same point of view shots, exactly the same angles, but just taken with a nighttime filter, so that we can see the shadows, the deep shadows, the light that's being spilt through the windows and the doors and so on, and maintains the atmosphere. You might want to use these point of view shots for characters without dark vision, and the light ones for characters with dark vision, if you just want to differentiate what they're seeing. But great player aids. Every player that I've gotten feedback from these loves these. So that is the Elven Town Martial Academy. You can find that on RPG Now, and I'll post a link to that underneath my YouTube clip. Look out for the other Elven Town maps. There's 5 of them in total by the time I've done this one. I am thinking of doing some more. We'll see what the demand's like. But you can really run a larger and different sort of maps and scenarios for a larger Elven setting with using the other maps. And also look out for the forest and rough forest map packs, because they've got lots of good foresty goodness that can keep your characters moving through different encounter maps, so they don't get too used to the same maps and so on. So anyway, well, that's all I've got to say. So thank you for listening, and happy gaming, people.